Inclusive education or inclusive classroom is a philosophy, perspective, or a view that brings students, families, and community into a school-based relationship that is based on respect, acceptance, and belonging. Inclusive classroom basically focuses on a positive and productive relationship. It welcomes diverse and unique children. It is a student-centered growth and learning process. It is a bridge between special need processes and general education processes where diverse learners, diverse children, diverse students meet and help and respect each other. And it is a commitment to the learners' physical, emotional, social, communication, cognitive, ecological, and spiritual development. Inclusive education is not a one-size-fits-all solution to educational challenges. What are the principles of inclusive classroom? Positive and productive relationship comes first in inclusive classroom. Focus on children's happiness and development. All the children in inclusive classroom have their unique areas of strengths and needs based on their interests, experiences, and background. Inclusive classroom is not about labeling, or it's not about categorizing children whether they are weak or strong, fast or slow, gifted, exceptional, or having difficulties or having disability. It is about giving all the children the equal opportunity for learning and growing. It is about welcoming all the children in all the areas of development in the classroom. It is about the unending discovery of children's strengths. In the classroom, the students and teachers are aware that nobody in the classroom will learn in the same way. Children are very unique in terms of their personalities and how they perceive things. Take note, children in inclusive classroom have different options in understanding the lesson. In inclusive classroom, learning happens in different ways. That is why teachers have to be proactive, flexible, and embracing to the gifts of each children. And the challenge now is to reach the needs of all these students, and it's not easy. In inclusive classroom, children should develop self-regulation, and it is about being able to manage life in view of physical, emotional, social, cognitive, communication, ecological, and spiritual development. Learning happens in different rates and paces. Therefore, teachers should never force children to learn at the same time. There are three fundamental elements or components of inclusive classroom. The first is the development of a child, or child development. The second is the learning processes. And the third is managing the learning space of managing the classroom. The child development covers the physical, the social, the emotional, the cognitive, the communication, the ecological, and spiritual development. The learning processes is fundamentally about understanding the capacity, potential, and limitation of the children's sensory, brain, and memory through your teaching strategies, learning preferences of children, and the assessment. How do we plan, implement, and evaluate an inclusive classroom? There are 4 elements that we need to consider. First is the content, the second is the process, and the third is the product or the outcome that we expect, and the last one is the learning environment. First is the content. What should be the content of children's learning? Teachers should always pay attention to the development of children in any kind of learning, whether you're talking about math, science, social studies, or religion. Pay attention always to the 7 elements of growth, which is the physical, emotional, social, cognitive, communication, ecological, and spiritual development. The second is the learning process. How do students acquire knowledge? How do students grow in the learning processes? First is that children should feel that they are valued while they are learning. And the second is that all the learning processes should be able to know children's preferences in terms of learning and be able to acknowledge their capacity, limitation, and potential of the brain, sensory, and memory. Utilize the technology for the children. Utilize meaningful strategies that captures the interests and development of children. The product or the outcome is where students demonstrate their readiness, their preferences, and what they had learned in your classroom. You have to pay attention to this. We use assessment not to label or rank children. Label them or rank them in terms of whether they are high or low or average. It is about monitoring children's progress, monitoring their growth, needs, and interests or preferences. The learning environment is the space of learning. The fundamental is that the moment children get into the classroom, they feel valued, they feel respected, they feel the security inside the classroom. But beyond that also is that the teacher should be able to design the learning environment that promotes the opportunity in growing in the 7 elements: the physical, emotional, social, cognitive, communication, ecological, and spiritual. Each should provide an opportunity for creating a difference in their own life. What are the roles of teachers in inclusive classroom? First, organize learning opportunities for all the children. Second, assess students' readiness to learn. Third, acknowledge students' interests, preferences, and needs. Fourth, find ways by which children can interact with ideas and information. Fifth, develop varied ways by which children will be able to develop their own ideas. Sixth, make learning meaningful and useful. Teachers can act as a coach. Eighth, engage students in critical and creative thinking. Ninth, record evidence of learning. Never label or rank children in an inclusive classroom. 11th, listen to the stories of children in their behavior, work, and body language. 13th, consider the psychology of time, because children work variedly on a specific time. 14th, give yourself a month or two to recognize the capacity, potential, and limitation of children, and make sure you keep a record of the basic information necessary in planning the growth and development of children. 15th, help the children reach the high quality of output within their capacity, potential, and limitation. What are the positive qualities of teachers in an inclusive classroom? First is flexibility. The second is the ability to create and develop positive relationship with children. The third, a teacher also values his or her own personal development in the aspect of physical, emotional, social, cognitive, communication, ecological, and spiritual. Fourth, passion for children. And fifth, passion for learning, knowledge, and discovery. Sixth, being able to build a positive relationship with other teachers, the families of children, and the community. Inclusive classroom is very, very challenging. You need social support. What are the challenges in engaging in inclusive classroom? First, it is difficult to do. Second, there are very limited resources in terms of human and financial logistics. Third, it consumes so much time. Differentiation is not easy. You cannot get it a snap of a finger. It takes time. Fourth, the overall curriculum of the school is overpacked, and this inhibits you to do differentiation. Fifth, having 25 to 40 or more children in the classroom make inclusive processes difficult. Sixth, you have other responsibilities in school aside from teaching. Seventh, some schools are into it but not into it. It means that some schools support differentiation, but when you look at the entire planning of the curriculum, the whole setup of the school, this do not give you the opportunity for differentiation. Eighth, the learning of children is like a roller coaster. It goes up, it goes down. It's so difficult to anticipate how learning happens.